Hey, good morning. Happy trash day. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 889. Hey, we're coming up on 900, the big 900. So we're what? Let's see, we're not going to have a show Saturday. I've got Anawan Fun Days coming up next weekend. So I'll be out of town. So there will be no Hobby Evolution. Let's see, Monday or Sunday, June 3rd. Is that a Sunday? June 4th. And then the Monday. So I'm not sure what the math does, but we're getting close to 900. I think end of September, early October, we'll be at episode 1000. That'll be at the new house, new background. New background. Let's see. Move in probably 1st of July, the new house. Getting some stuff done yesterday. Made a couple trips over there. The cabinet company was there. What I found interesting about this whole process is how everybody blames everybody. Like the contractors blame each other. Oh, the installer didn't know what he was doing. Oh, the cabinet company doesn't. Oh, the tile. It's like, well, if they would have installed it better. But I get it. My dad was not a contractor, but I guess he kind of was. But I get it because I remember growing up with my dad and him always complaining about, oh, they should have. Every house we walked into, my dad would look up and they shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done that. My brother does that. My brother owns well, now he sold his share, but he did own part of a plumbing and heating business. And he loved plumbing. And he would go, and I remember my my bachelor party at my friend Scott, who's getting married this summer. We're at his house, and so my brother's like, "Hey, can I look at your plumbing?" Whoa! Are you coming on to me, man? What are you talking about? It's like, I want to check out your plumbing. So we went down into the basement, and he looked at his plumbing. And he's like, "Oh wow, you really follow code up here." So my brother's in a small town. Like there's no code. You can get away with anything. You just do it. You duct tape the wires and there's a hole in the pipe. Just duct tape it. So yeah, I'll be back in Anawan next weekend. So I'll be off a couple days. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the new house. So 1st of July, I think, is when we'll move in. We had some, they ran out of some of our flooring. So that, in fact, they didn't come yesterday. And I stopped by last night after we went out to sushi last night. And so I swung by after dinner, and the flooring guy was just leaving, and he's finishing up. So the flooring should be, outside of the carpet. That'll be one of the last things. Flooring will be all in as of this morning. The porch is being built. The screened porch is starting this week. Siding is starting today. Tiling is about finished. Well, not quite. The guest bathroom, because they didn't have the correct tile, so that had to be all removed. So it's starting to come along, come together. So, I just saw John's comment, duck update. So, I did name the duck. I named the duck Beverly. Okay, and here's why. We had talked about the duck. The duck is still there. We have told the siding people, do not disturb the duck. Do not. So siding may be delayed, but Herman said 28 days, and it's been pretty close to 28 days. I think Mama Duck is about to get those eggs hatched. So I named the duck Beverly, and the reason I named it Beverly was it's female. Otherwise, I would name it Howard. So if I ever find Beverly with her mate will be Howard. It'll be Howard and Beverly. Why did I name the duck Beverly? because Beverly was the name of Leah Thompson's character in the movie Howard the Duck. So I thought about naming it Leah, and I'm like, nah, Leah doesn't sound like a good duck name, but Beverly sounds like a great duck name, even though Leah Thompson wasn't a duck in the movie Howard the Duck. Beverly's a great. I saw Steve Ains's comedy, The Awful Tasting Soda. Is a great. I think is a great duck name, Beverly. And my wife liked it. I said, I want to name the duck. I think we should name it Beverly. And she's like, I like that. So Beverly it is. And if we find her mate will be Howard. Howard and Beverly, the romance from the classic 1986 film Howard the Duck. So Beverly the Duck. She's still sitting on her eggs. I checked in on her yesterday afternoon. Terry's in the house. What's happening, Terry? Brian, Dean, good morning. Shane, what's happening? Boston Smoke is here. Focus, Tilt, George in the house. Brian says it's trash day. Yes, it is. Trash is on the curb. I took it out there last night. Trash is on the curb. Only trash day, but trash was building up. More trash than you. I've had more trash than usual. The last few. I don't know why that is. Ed, good morning. Johnny in the house. Victor, good morning. Andy Mack is here. T-minus 2.5 days until the end of the school year. How about that? Oh, man. Like the smell in the air. Does anybody else get that feeling like that? You smell something? I'm still allergies. We're going to have high pollen today. I looked it up. High pollen again today. This has been a terrible allergy season here in Wisconsin. But there's that, if you can smell, there's that smell in the air. It's the smell of end of school, and it takes me back. Smell just takes you back, hopefully in good places. But the smell of, it's the end of May. It smells like, and remember the smell of schools? School had like that distinct smell at the end of the school year. Andy Mack, I'd like to get your thought on that. Does your school have that end of school year smell to it? I think it's because schools for most of the year, especially in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, they're all locked up and windows are closed. You've got hundreds, if not thousands, of stinky junior high kids and high school kids. And it's just a smelly, gross, just stink fest. But it starts warming up. You've got the spring air. And maybe it's the combination of stinky adolescence and fresh air. Kind of like the flower poop smell. Like, potpourri is disgusting. Like, I'm going to go there. Bathroom, toilet humor going. I'm going to go there because potpourri is disgusting. It's not the potpourri itself. And maybe I think the smell of potpourri is disgusting because I liken it to the smell of a flowery poop bathroom. Like, you take a dump and you spray this flowery shit. And it smells like shit masked by flowers. And it's just take a dump and leave it. Like, the smell of shit is better than the smell of potpourri shit. So I hate potpourri. I don't spray potpourri. Much to my wife's disdain. But at least I don't dump in the powder room. But the smell of schools in May, it's just that, like, I think it's just the excitement of we're getting the hell out of here. The windows are open. Spring is in the air. And I'm not cooped up in this damn school anymore. I love the smell of spring. Probably walk outside. Maybe I'll have a cup of coffee out on the patio this morning just to take in the scent and then sneeze because my allergies are still acting up. JW in the house. Good morning. What a wonderful Cubs game last night. Yes, I didn't even watch it, but I was following along from my phone, from my group chat, and from the MLB app. I was just looking at the box score. Matt Mervis hit a home run. Cubs win. Cubs win. Steve Ains comedy, and I've got my Cubs shirt on this morning. I should have worn my Bob Ross W shirt this morning. Steve Ains comedy in the house. Good morning. The Rays lost 20-1 to the Blue Jays, and the apocalypse is coming. Man, if you would have had Blue Jays in your fantasy lineup, you would have been good to go. Mark Hoyle in the house. Dan asks, did your dad call houses live-in places? No, he didn't. No. I think he just called them houses. Eating places and picture shows. John says, I'm actually interacting with a plumbing system as we speak. Maybe John's taking a dump. Donald Davis in the house. Good morning. Alex says, good morning. Yanks win. Red Sox lose. Where we at? John, we got the duck update. Donald just sold 5 cars to a customer in New York. Good morning, and hit the like button. I woke up to only like 14 overnight sales, which is really low. Sometimes, like I think 2 nights ago, it was like 55. Actually, it might have been more than 14 because I did wake up in the middle of the night. I woke up at like 1 a.m., just wide awake. But I had another great sales day yesterday. I feel like I'm going to jinx it here sooner or later. But I'm going on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight days of eclipsing my daily goal in sales. 6 straight days and 7 out of 8. Because remember, I had that up, down, up, down, up, down week last week. But it's been steady since last Thursday. So hopefully that trend continues. What's the key to that, you may ask? The key is I think I'm adding quality and quantity. I started adding football, and I think that's really helped. Football is starting to really move. I've had a lot of football sales. I'm still listing Bowman, so that's still top of mind. I'm still listing some autographs, and cheap autos always sell. So I think it's just that combination of a lot of quality being added to my eBay store, and that's what's picking up my eBay sales. Hey, speaking of releases, we've got Heritage out today. Man, I love Heritage this year. And remember yesterday, I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of I'm tired of Heritage. But the reason I love it is the Cubs checklist is insane. Partly because it's a little crazy with who's in the checklist, but I kind of like it. Topps Heritage checklist. Let's go. So last night I saw some photos on Twitter of Topps Heritage. And so I just went to eBay, and I'm like, I wonder what Cubs Heritage cards are up, and I just want to see. Not that I'm going to buy any on release day, but I might be interested in. I'm going to wait. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to wait. So today is Topps Heritage release day, 1974 design. But I'm going to wait until Saturday. The Madison Card Show is this Saturday. The Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Sold out show. Probably could have 200 tables this Saturday, but I just don't have the space of the tables. Don't want to oversell like last month. I don't think the hotel was happy with that. And thank goodness the fire marshal didn't come in. Probably broke fire code last month. But I'm going to wait until Saturday, the Madison Card Show, and I'm going to see if anybody has like bargain boxes, because I just want the Cubs. I don't want to go out and buy a couple hobby boxes just to pull a bunch of quarter cards, right? So I'm going to wait till Saturday and see what people have, if anybody has any singles. It's kind of tough on release week because I don't have a lot of dealers that like have that inventory right away. Sometimes Tom from Real Breaks, he did bring Heritage. It was high number. He brought like a monster box of singles and did pretty well. So I might reach out to him and say, hey, are you going to bring a bargain box of Heritage? See if anybody else. There's a couple other guys that sometimes have it on release. If it's the Saturday, if the show's on the Saturday after a Wednesday release, we'll see. But the Cubs have a huge checklist. I was in one of my group chats talking about Heritage, and Narciso Crook has a rookie card, and he has an autograph. He's now been in at least two products. He had autographs in Top Series 1, and now he has autographs in Topps Heritage. And you're like, who? Narciso Crook, who I really like because of what I saw at spring training last year. But Narciso Crook only played in 4 games. He only has 4 games of service in Major League Baseball, 4 with the Cubs last season, yet here he is popping up in these 2023 products. He's now in the Red Sox system. He plays in the minor leagues for the Red Sox. I really like Narciso Crook because I was at spring training. I was on the backfields because he was in minor league camp. And a little girl, I don't know, like maybe 7, 8 years old, asked for his autograph. All she had was a index card or like a blank piece of a white paper. A lot of players won't sign just white pieces of paper because it could be forged, and so he goes, I'm sorry, I can't sign that, but I can sign this. And he pulls one of his bats out of his bag and signed a bat, one of his own bats, for this little girl. So cool. Such a cool gesture. So I was always rooting for Narciso Crook, and he got the call, only appeared in 4 games. But I was glad to see him, make the show because that was just, I just happened to be there when he did that last year at spring training. So he has a rookie card in Topps Heritage. He's on, 74, they do the 4, the 4 heads rookie cards, and the Cubs actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those rookie cards. They actually have like Cubs must be rookie pitchers. It's Eric Allman, who I believe is still in the system. I think he's in AAA. Anderson Espinoza, which I'm not sure if he's in AAA or not. Javier Assad, he's in AAA. And Brendan Little, also in AAA. So at least they're all, I believe all 4 are still in the Cubs system. The next card is Narciso Crook. He's on a Rookie Stars card with Will Benson, Winton Bernard, and Michael Ciani. And then Nick Padilla, who's a pitcher in the minor leagues. He's on a 4 Rookie Star card with Kevin Herget, Xavion Curry, and Jake Bird. And then Jared Young is on a Rookie Stars card with Michael Toglia, David McKinnon, and Spencer Steer. So those are the rookie cards. Other rookie cards that got single rookies: Nelson Velasquez, Ben DeLuzio, who's another one on the checklist. It's like, I had to look up Ben DeLuzio. Like, I remember Ben DeLuzio, but I don't remember Ben DeLuzio. So I looked up Ben DeLuzio. Take a drink every time I say Ben DeLuzio. So he's played in 22 total Major League Baseball games, Ben DeLuzio. Did so with the Cardinals last year. He was released and signed by the Cubs in December, this past December. You know what? I think I remember his name because he was at Cubs convention. So he was signed in December, released on March 29th. So he may have played in a handful of spring training games with the Cubs. I'm not sure where he's at now, but he's got a Cubs rookie card in Topps Heritage. Other Cubs in the Heritage checklist, which is releasing today: Cody Bellinger, Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, a Justin Steele rookie card. That's going to be fun. Seiya Suzuki, Caleb Killian gets a rookie card. Christopher Morel rookie card. How about Christopher Morel? He's hit 9 home runs in 12 games this year. He's played in 12 games, and he's hit 9 home runs in those 12 games. Trey Mancini's in the set. Jeremiah Estrada gets a rookie card. Zach McKinstry. Hayden Wesneski gets a rookie card. Marcus Stroman, Eric Hosmer, Patrick Wisdom, Nico Horner, Ben DeLuzio, Wilson Contreras, along with Alejandro Kirk, our all-stars. Keegan Thompson, Drew Smiley, Velasquez, Jamison Tyone, Nick Madrigal, Frank Schwindel, and then the 4 rookies we talked about. So that's the Cubs, a huge checklist, like 24 Cubs in the checklist. So I'll be looking for singles this Saturday at the Madison Card Show, but I don't know if I'm going to buy any hobby boxes or not. David's in the house. What's up, David? John says, I hope PETA shuts down your project. Steve says, Beverly, the awful tasting soda produced by Coca-Cola in Italy. Really? I didn't know that. When I was in Italy, my wife did not like, they don't have Diet Coke in Italy or Europe. I think it's Coca-Cola Light. And it's because they use like healthier alternatives than what we use here in America. I noticed the difference in food immediately upon returning to the US. Spent 2 weeks in Italy. Their food is so much fresher. There's no or very few preservatives. When I was in high school, we had a foreign exchange student from Italy, and she gained a lot of weight. And it was because of American food. But there was also like fast food, like McDonald's hamburgers, like that'll get you. But she went back to Italy and came right off. Yeah, I noticed, and then we went to, not long after we returned, we went to, quote, an authentic Italian restaurant owned by Italians, and it still didn't come close, even though it was, it wasn't Olive Garden. It didn't come close. I don't understand. I mean, America's run by the dollar and pharmaceuticals and all of this freaking crap that we put in our food. And here, and I'm saying this, but I eat it. I mean, I'll go to Dunkin' on Saturday morning and eat a shit burger and, whatever else they put in it. I'll go to McDonald's and eat all that crap. But it is alarming at what we're putting in our food here in the U.S. Shaw Cards, good morning. Augusta Lawn Care, what's up? Long time. Zach and Porter says, as someone who has very strict guidelines for gambling, I would consider ripping wax as too close for comfort. Breaks for sure. Ripping wax for a compulsive gambler would be considered gambling. I totally agree. So that's the topic today. The topic today, inspired by Dan's tweet last night, which is in the description. The tweet in question, I'm going to get to the chat, and we'll circle back to this, but it was in reply to Eric Whiteback's, the Druw Jones Superfractor was pulled. There's a bounty by David Adams. Dan says, well, I'm happy for the person. The fact that life-changing money is at stake, opening a box of cards in the hobby makes me think we should put an age limitation on buying products. 18 years up to buy unopened wax. And man, did the hate come in. The hate came. I think he got 38 replies to that tweet. My initial thought when I read that was, Dan, you're freaking crazy. And then I thought about it. And I thought, Dan, you've got a really good point here. So I'm going to talk about that. Sal Dougie's in the house. Good morning. Rich says, now that's a clickbait title for an episode of Hobby Evolution. Paige and Deanie Bean in the house. Dean and Andrew are here. Rich says, Bo is learning from the Sports Card Radio folks. Gate City Paul, good morning. Looks like I came in right in time for another poop talk. Hey, you timed it right. Dean tuned in at the right time. Poop on a tree? What's that mean? Poop on a tree. George says, my dad used to call it poop-pourri. There used to be one of my friends dated a girl, and she was like just absolutely disgusted by poop. I mean, who isn't disgusted by poop? But it was like, I think there's actually there's a potpourri like brand called Poo-Pourri. I think it's called Poo-Pourri. And maybe it doesn't have the smell of like the flowery, like, Terry says, wait a few minutes before going into the bathroom after Bo. G. John Sports, finally get a live show. Usually have to watch later, watch all, and usually a day or two behind. No other show can you get all this great content. Yeah, like Poop Talk. What other hobby show is going to talk about taking dumps in the powder room? Hopefully only me. Good morning, Tracy. Harlan in the house. Stuke is here. What's up? Jay is here. Baseball card curmudgeon. What's up? Let's see. Terry says, for the first time in many months, I missed my daily goal 3 days in a row. I went through, Terry, not this month, but it might have been March or April. You know, I went through several days of just like, what the hell's going on? And now it's kind of the opposite. It's like, what the hell's going on in a good way? Like, wow, what the hell's going on? Whatever I'm doing, keep doing it. Tracy says, is there a website that lists card shows? Yes. I'm looking for one in my area near Myrtle Beach and can't remember if they are potentially listed somewhere. Yeah, there's several places. Most of the hobby websites have them. If you Google, usually Google will bring up many. This is my favorite. Thanks to John Keating for bringing Card Show Map to my attention. I always use Beckett, but I've actually been using Card Show Map. It's so much easier to find, and it gives you the pegs. And it also shows how come there's not a national on the West Coast. Well, take a look at Card Show Map right there on the homepage. That tells you why there's no nationals on the West Coast. Look at, west of the Mississippi, there's 10% of the card shows west of the Mississippi as there is east of the Mississippi. So cardshowmap.com, that's the one I always, because it's super easy and it's boom right there. It's like, oh, I'm in Myrtle Beach. Just scroll over to South Carolina, South Cackalack. It looks like there's a show in Myrtle Beach. It's not till September though. Wow, it's a big one too. 350 tables, the Myrtle Beach Sports Card and Memorabilia Show. But if you don't want to wait until September, maybe cruise up to Wilmington. Well, there's not one until August up there, but there looks like there's another one. There's one at the American Legion. It's a smaller show in August again. So maybe drive down to Charleston. Jesus, not till November. What the hell is up with that? December. Jesus. I'm sorry, South Carolina. There's just no card shows for you. You're going to have to do some driving, either wait or drive if you're in Myrtle Beach. Not many shows. Looks like that August. Is it that August or September show? Either drive to Wilmington in August or you've got one in September, at least based on Card Show Map. Where are we at? Herman in the house. What's up, Herman? Good morning, Flawed Thinker. Sal says, Cubs should play Morel in more games. He's finally an everyday player. Let's see. Henry says, I didn't sleep well. Me too. I woke up wide awake at like 1 a.m. and couldn't fall back asleep. T206 kid, Tony in the house. I agree. Opening wax is a gamble, but the reason it's not is because you are still getting a product. It's not like you walk away with nothing. So that's the caveat. That is the caveat. That is true. MKB Man says, coming from a family of hardcore gamblers, I always have to keep myself in check when buying cards. Henry says, I'm glad Jeff Wilson ruined the hobby so Bo can sell more low end. Let's see. Paige and Deanie Bean says, what does a 2023 Topps Heritage hobby box go for this year? I think around $90. Somebody said 95 yesterday. Let's see. Let's go to Blowout. Basically, everybody follows Blowout. So you're going to be within $5 one way or another of Blowout, no matter where you buy. 2023. I think $95 So you're going to be between 90 and 100. Local card shops might upcharge you a little bit, 110, but you're going to be around $90, $100 for a hobby box of Topps Heritage. Let's see. Henry says hello to Jay. Woke up with aches and a headache. The bed I slept on was hard as a rock. That sucks. Andy teaches middle school. Sweaty kids wearing too much Axe body spray is mostly what I smell in the spring. Oh, that might even be worse than potpourri after a dump. The government has thought about regulating video game microtransactions due to it be considered gambling targeted at youth. Chasing high-value cards could be compared similarly. That's kind of what I was thinking. Let's see. Where are we at? Joe Caprino. There are some breaks that are total gambles and probably should be regulated. There's and here's the thing. So we'll get to the top 30 minutes and we're already at the topic. Max says, just because you don't get something in return doesn't mean it's not still gambling. And I agree with that. Yes, you are getting something, but at the same time, especially when there's $250,000 on the line. And yes, how rare is it? What are the odds? I mean, first off, what are the odds of pulling a Superfractor? And we can bring that up. And then who's any math teachers in here that can do statistics? And then the odds of, what are the odds of pulling not just a Superfractor, but the Druw Jones Superfractor? 2023 Bowman odds. And I guess, and there's different odds on the Chrome Superfractor. I guess, let's see. Top 100 Chrome Superfractor. So in the hobby pack, it's 1 in 31,306 packs, or 1 in 1,300 hobby boxes. And then in the jumbo, it's 1 in 812 hobby boxes. So that's actually not as bad as I thought. And then I guess and then you have to, how many Superfractors are there? I don't know how to do odds like that, but yes, while you are getting, it's still a gamble. Regardless if you're getting something in return, it has that gambling element to it. Let's see. Max says that's the breaker's excuse to be compliant with the government. Yeah, and that's literally how they get around eBay. Because you're bidding on index card. That's how they get around eBay. This is how breakers get around eBay terms and conditions. You will receive like a paperclip or a paperclip or a note card, and you'll also, as a bonus, you'll receive all the cards of this player or this team, and that's how they get around the eBay terms and conditions. Flawed Thinker says, if I'm going to buy Heritage, then I'm buying a case of 21 for $475. Half the price of 23 is enough reason for me. And yeah, and if that's the way you want to go, that's good. But there's also a reason that 21 Heritage is only $475, because it's about what it's worth. In 2 years, 2023 Heritage might only be worth $475, but it could also be worth $2,000 for a case. It's just 21 was a down year for Heritage, and that's why the price reflects that. Max nailed it. Card Hobbyist says like 1 in 3 million packs for the Druw Jones specifically. It's a lot of packs. Shane says an autograph index card, which never comes. Should I be leaving negative feedback for no autographed index card? Right. Brian Wolf says we used to sell pencils for hundreds of dollars with free tickets to a sports game. Get around scalping laws. See, there's loopholes. There's loopholes. So the reason I talk about this topic today is because Dan, collectible guru Eric Whiteback, tweeted out about the Druw Jones Superfractor. It was pulled. There was a bounty on it by David Adams Card World, $250,000, but the bounty jumps to $1 million if Druw Jones makes the Hall of Fame. Now, and somebody ran the numbers on that, and it's like if you invested the $250,000 today or whenever this year, and you invested that at the annual, like at the historical S&P 500 return of somewhere between 9 and 10%, that $250,000 in 20 years is 1.6 million. So right there, it's already a better deal than holding out hope that Druw Jones has a Hall of Fame career and then makes the Hall of Fame. You know, he's in single A, and I think he's hurt right now. So, you know, you're probably looking at least 25 years before he would make the Hall. If he has a Hall of Fame career, and then the 5-year wait, and then getting the call. So you're looking at probably 25, if not 30. You know, maybe he's a fringe Hall of Famer. I mean, and this is all assuming he becomes a Hall of Famer. If he does have if he eventually makes the Hall of Fame, you know, what if he has a 10-year wait? Could have a 5-year wait. So you're looking at maybe 30 years. Realistically, 25 to 30 years if he has a Hall of Fame career. And so there you go. Take the $250K, invest it. Where are we at? Max says 14.4 years at 10%, rule of 72. Zach says it's not just the act of ripping, it's wax. It's the emotion around the chase and then the addiction to buy more with the chance you will get your hit by singles. Zach nails it. Yeah, it's not just you are getting something, but that's not the gamble. The gamble is the addiction tied to it and the chasing of a Superfractor or an autograph. It's real. Flawed Thinker says, I race in a car series called 24 Hours of Lemons. That sounds fun. Cars cannot cost more than $500, excluding safety equipment. So when buying a used one, the safety equipment is $2,500 and the car is $1. It's our loophole. So is there like a max on safety equipment? Let's see. It has nothing to do with Hall of Fame. There are a ton of Hall of Fame members whose cards aren't very appealing. I don't like when Zach makes sense. Good morning, Mark Marinello. So Dan, in response to that tweet, and I lost it. Where are we at? There we are. So Dan says, quote, while I am happy for the person, the fact that life-changing money is at stake opening a box of cards in the hobby makes me think we should put an age limitation on buying products. 18 years and up to buy unopened wax. And when I first read that, I thought, Dan, what in the hell are you smoking? That's crazy talk. Then I thought about it. Dan has a really good point here. We're putting $250K bounties. We're ultimately gambling. Now that there's this big chase, there's Dan. Good morning. Good morning, Red Bridge. I lost my train of thought. But now we're attaching bounties, $250K. We are gambling. Yeah, we're getting some cards, but we're chasing the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Druw Jones slugging 200, but he's only played in like a handful of games. Because I think he was hurt to start the season. Plus, it's take minor league stats with a grain of salt, especially on that such a small. Chris Bryant, first professional game. Chris Bryant struck out 5 times in a game. Let's see, Druw Jones. What in the hell? I just clicked on Druw Jones minor league page and it brought up like it's freaking 1997 internet. What the hell's going on? MILB.com, you're whack. Jesus, what the hell? I guess he's 40 at bats. He's hitting 175, 483 OPS, 40 at bats. So very small sample. Let's go back into the chat. Minneapolis kid, I knew a guy that raced in something like that, and the one rule that kind of got people not lie about how much they paid was if someone shows up with a nice car, people could buy them for $1,500. Zach and Porter says, why do you think athletes like ripping cards? Some players buy 25K boxes because they can't place a dollar bet on a WNBA game. There you go. Can't gamble on a game, but I can gamble on this $40,000 case of flawless basketball cards. John says, so why the hell are we talking about a guy who's played in a handful of games? Because that's the hobby, man. This has been going on for 40 years. Why was Sam Horn big in 1988? Greg Jeffries, same. Kevin Moss, Brian Taylor I don't think Brian Taylor reached AA, and his cards were going crazy in the early 90s. Jason Dominguez, Wander Franco, the list goes on. Every year it happens, and it's going to continue happening. And guys will flame out, not make the big leagues after being having thousands of dollars in Bowman autographs sell on eBay and other auction sites, and people won't learn. There will be another chase next year and the year after and the year after that, and it will go on forever. Augusta says the gambling aspect of cards is really hard, subject to come up with a solution. The hobby is about the kids, and if we alienate the kids, the future of the hobby is dead. There needs to be a happy balance of money and stuff for kids to enjoy. And unfortunately, it looks like they are discontinuing the cheaper products designed for kids as it is. I agree and disagree. I agree with everything except the end. There are still cheap products for kids. Topps, flagship, cheap product for kids. Topps Big League, amazing product. I love Topps Big League. Great product for kids. They discontinued opening day, but opening day sucked. I'm sorry. Big League was opening day was just Topps flagship with a stamp on it. Topps Big League is a great, small dollar product. So there are still products for kids. I agree with everything else because it is hard. The gambling aspect is hard because it's hard to say because we, as a business, Fanatics, whatever card company it is, Panini, card companies need to make money. That's their ultimate goal. Their ultimate goal is not to make us collectors happy and feel good about our hobbies. That's not what they're in business for. They're in business to make money. And that's okay. However, when it comes to towing that line of gambling, and it's getting closer and closer to being like, hey, this is you're touching the you're hitting that gray line, running up to that gray line. It's like, how do you balance that out? And is there an answer for this? The simplest answer is just do what you do until it is regulated. If it does become regulated, and if not, just keep doing what you're doing. Obviously the card companies aren't going to make any moves in relation to, potential gambling unless they're made to by the government and say, hey, this is a form of gambling. If companies are offering a bounty, I don't even know if that can be done because it's like, it's not Topps or Fanatics offering these bounties. It's third parties. It's Dave and Adams or Blowout or, who else? Joe Schmo that has a lot of money to burn. They're offering the bounties. It's not the card companies. So that's a way around it. It's an interesting topic of discussion. What do I think? Doesn't matter what I think. I don't want things that I want kids to be able to buy packs, and I don't want cards to be regulated. But some of what's happening within the hobby, and there's a lot of big money. Guess what happens when things attract big money? They become regulated. So the government can get a piece of that pie. These card companies are making too much money. We're going to tax it. We're going to regulate it because we want some of that action. Max says, John, because prospecting is much more entertaining and interesting than buying cards of guys in the ground. Kidding, but not at the same time. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. It's just like prospecting is just like opening wax. It's the what if. You know, opening a box of Bowman, there's a chance we pull a Druw Jones Superfractor that we can get $250K. But there's also a chance our $300 box of Bowman is only worth $100. It's a chance that many are willing to take. Much like in prospecting, there's a chance Druw Jones could make the Hall of Fame and we could turn $250,000 into $1 million. But there's a chance Druw Jones doesn't even make it to AA and his cards are in the dollar box. We love taking those chances. Shane says if you make it 18 plus, it's going to be hard to get more kids into the hobby and have it keep going. Absolutely. Without a doubt. How do you get kids in the hobby? Although a lot of kids aren't buying. Our kids, the kids that I see, like the wheelers and dealers at card shows with their Pelican cases, I don't think they're buying much wax. I think they're buying singles, or their parents are buying them singles. I would not have been into cards if I had to wait till 18 to buy hobby boxes. I mean, yeah, that was our entry point. But remember, I assume, Shane, you're my age or similar age. It was a lot different when we were kids. We only had packs. We didn't have the internet. We had to go to the IGA and buy a pack of tops for 40 cents or 50 cents. We couldn't get on our phone and dial up eBay. We couldn't do that. We had to go to the old curmudgeon at the local card shop and have him rip us off. I don't think I had any curmudgeons at card shops. I remember curmudgeons, but they were okay. Or card shows. It was a much different. The 80s and 90s were so much different than today's world. Today's world is, we are open to the world. And it's so much. And I mean, shit, little kids are on eBay. I mean, look at how many kids are bidding on your eBay items and not paying for them. And then their dad has to come in and say, sorry, my son bid on that. Anyone pull a breaker card from Big League? Oh, yeah, because Big League had the influencer cards. I think there were, 5? Jeff Wilson was in there. Mama Breaks, I think, was in the set. Card Collector 2. Who else? Oh, I think Slab Stock. Tim was on there as well. John says, so we haven't learned a lesson in 40 years. No. Thanks for making my point. No. Collectively, the hobby has not learned. And they will continue to not learn. Because in 40 more years, there's going to be Druw Jones III. Is going to be coming up as a prospect in 2055 Bowman. Mark says, when I worked for Uncle Rich, it was almost sad seeing grown men buy a box of cards, get no hits, and throw away the cards. Mark says, the guys I collect have been dead for 40 years. Let's see. Henry says, who drew? Unfortunately, it's not just sports card either. When I started opening Pokemon in the 90s, the chase was the Charizard that went all day for $200 to $300. Mark says, and are in the Hall of Fame. Topps announced they are discontinuing 3 of those products. They're only opening day they're discontinuing, but I don't think none of them are really like low end. Big League is still being made. They're discontinuing. I think Gypsy Queen is kind of being put on the shelf. They didn't say they're discontinuing, but all of those are like the average set. I chase one player and I refuse to get in on the hype anymore. Tim Couch was a mistake for me to buy into. Let's see. John says, so this isn't hobby talk. Speculating isn't hobbying. Was speculation evolution trademarked by someone else? Yes, it was. My 9-year-old was sucked into playing Madden Ultimate Team. You open virtual packs to build your own team. Once I saw him spend his $40 birthday money. That blows. Look at all the retro designs in Topps products. It's already aimed at older collectors. There's some truth to that, but there's a lot of shiny as well. And Topps, it's one of those things you have to cater to both sides. There's a lot of redesigns because you've got to cater to those that want that, but you also have to cater to the new stuff that, the chase. Hobby, a noun, hobby, plural noun, hobbies, an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for pleasure. Zach and Porter said, gambling saved this hobby post-junk wax era, just like gambling saved sports. Fantasy sports is the reason people care about a random Thursday night game between two teams no one cares about. You're exactly right. If everyone just collected vintage, there would be no Topps. If nobody's buying the new stuff and everybody's collecting the old stuff, Topps wouldn't be in business. Exactly flawed thinker. You make it 18 plus. You are murdering your Pokemon community. Harlan says, what would the Jones Superfractor sell for without the bounty? That's a good question. I don't think it would sell for $250K. 100K, 150K. Let's see. Shane says, and if we were saying this is gambling, then most likely it would be changed to 21 plus, and that would be awful. Gambling is 18 plus. Like casinos are 21 plus, but gambling, you can go play the lottery at 18. Steve says it's a hobby. Grading companies and people who think sports card is an investment instruments is who is ruining sports cards. If they were thinking about regulating, they'd be sniffing around all these card shows a lot more. I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing that in the next few years. Because once more and more mainstream media, this card sold for $3 million, $12 million. There's a bounty for $1 million on this card, $500,000 on this card, $250,000 on that card. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're not getting enough of that pie. Don't be surprised. John says, I open wax to complete a set. Still do. Mark says, let them spend to get that chase card. I'm happy putting together my 1970s sets. It's a hobby which had escaped the everyday world. John says, I'm a hobbyist, leisure, pleasure. Zach says, create packs that have cards without massive hits and no odds on the pack, and you don't have to make it over 18. Movie ratings didn't kill the movie industry. There can be both audiences served. That's a really good point. You can still make movies at 18 plus, but you also have movies that cater to, younger audiences. And if you want products, here's where the tough spot is. It's not the card companies that are creating these big bounties. It's how do you, I guess it's pretty easy to know, okay, there's Bowman is a highly sought after product with Superfractors, but you could do and here's what I hate on content show on shows. Here's what you could do, but create retail only because Superfractors are not in. I did my clickbaity title when I opened my blasters last week, going for the Druw Jones Superfractor, and I'm opening blasters in which there are not Superfractors inserted into that SKU. There you go. Let's see. $200 hobby box makes it difficult for kids to get into the hobby. Let's see. And that's why there's a lot of Top Series 1 was what, $70? $70 for a hobby box. I mean, I wasn't opening hobby boxes as a kid. And they were a lot less than what they are today, obviously. What were hobby boxes back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s? $30. I had one. I got a box of 1991 Upper Deck for Christmas in 91. Otherwise, it was just a couple packs here and there. Let's see. Mark says, I do buy and open a pack of 1977 every spring to bring me back to when I was 9. That's pretty cool. $5 packs makes it harder to get into the hobby. Paying a fee for the chance to win some of value is a raffle. Raffles are typically illegal unless it's a not-for-profit holding it. I suspect breaks are already in violation of some state laws. Most likely, I would imagine. Chasing and speculating on players that probably won't make it will drive kids out of the hobby. I disagree. I disagree 100% because there were a lot of kids chasing Brian Taylor that are still in the hobby today. I'd have to buy 1969 packs to do that, Mark. Exponentially more expensive than yours. I would have to buy, I got to do the math. 1991. Hey, mine's cheap. Go out and buy some 91 Fleer. I could buy cases for the same amount of your packs. Max says the reason the majority of people jumped in the past couple of years is they saw dollar signs. I think we need to start to realize that. Most definitely. Much of the active hobby, and I use the term hobby loosely, is the chase, the speculation, the chase. And the thing is, we look back at our youth, and for those that are of my age, we were coming of age in that money stage of the hobby. When I bought a pack of 1990 Tops, you know what the first thing I did was? I wasn't opening packs and fondling them and going, ooh, look at this. I wasn't fondling the cards. I was going straight to my Beckett and looking up, how much is the Ken Griffey Jr.? Oh, it's a $4 card. And I'd call my friend. I'd boop, 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 boop. Hey, I just pulled a $4 Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. I didn't care about the cards. I liked the money aspect of it. And there were a lot of that going on. It was a money thing. 35 years ago. John does participate in breaks. I love breaks as a team collector. I don't get into the game. I don't do random team breaks. Because that's doesn't do it for me. That's gambling. But if it's Bowman and I don't want to buy singles, but it's like, oh, I want a few singles and I want a chance at a first chrome autograph that I don't want to spend $100, $200 on, I'll buy into a break of a Cubs team break. And, sometimes I get lucky and I pull some great stuff. And sometimes I only bought into one Bowman break this year, 2023. I think I spent like $220. Fortunately, I didn't pull any autos in my break. I did pull a non-auto fuchsia Matt Mervis that I ended up selling for $100. So, I'm down to a cost of $120 for the Bowman I did pull. And, could I have bought those on the secondary market for a lot less? Absolutely. But it's part entertainment. It's part gamble, and it's part filling out a need for my collection. Let's see. Henry says, glad I'm not near coin pushers. I'd lose so much. Those are like, they freaking suck me in. Especially you see a couple, it's like, oh, if I could just get those, the next one. And then all of a sudden you're just, the cards are the hobby, not the pack. Kids have ways to get cards they want. We've proven that. Kids just need to be educated on ways to collect. Absolutely. This isn't 1988 anymore. Like walking up to the local IGA to buy packs of cards at 50 cents. That's not the entry point anymore. That was the entry point for us, old people. That's not the entry point for kids these days. Okay, everyone, have a great day. Thank you, Uncle Rich. Henry says, I'm not. Oh, where we at? Where's Henry at? Let's see. I'm not similar age to anyone 48 and feeling it. I'm not similar age to anyone. You're similar age to like everyone in this chat. I think probably 90% of this chat is between the ages of like 38 and 48 or 35 and 50. Bing Scott, did you ever go to Collector's World in Peoria back in the day? I did not. The only shop in Peoria I went to on not even a semi-regular basis, but I went a few times, was Baseball Card City, which I think is still open. Where's that? Just off War Memorial, I think. I did not go to Peoria very often growing up. The Quad Cities were closer, the Quad Cities to me were about 30 minutes away. Peoria was like an hour. So the card shops I went to growing up, we had enough. I mean, growing up when I did in the late 80s, early 90s, there were card shops in every town. So Geneseo Kiwani had multiple card shops. Those are where I went the most. But then, every once in a while, the Quad Cities, I would go. ABC Collectibles, which I think was in Moline. There was another shop in Moline I went to. But I didn't really go to I rarely went to Peoria growing up. John says the Junk Wax era kids are kind of thick in the head. Your Rookie McGuire and Bonds cards didn't hold their value, but you insist your Wanders will. But that's what they think. If I'm willing to sell. I don't hold anybody. I don't prospect. I've prospected on occasion, and then get in, get out. I will happily sell you Druw Jones and Matt Mervis and whoever else is in first Bowman. Because the chance of them becoming, a big star and selling for, much more than what they're worth now, pretty slim. So I'm selling. Max says, I think John needs to pay the neighbor boy more than $5 to cut his lawn so he can buy a pack at the corner store. It's 2023, not 1973. Inflation took hold and packs aren't a quarter anymore. Shane says, if you want to blame anyone, blame Panini and their hot garbage boxes for $400 plus. Their 500 sets they think they need to make. I was shocked when I learned how much, because I don't do football, basketball. I was shocked. I asked somebody at a show recently, and I'm like, so how much is like a hobby box of Prism? And I can't remember what but it was significantly more than what baseball hobby boxes for the most part are. And I'm like, holy shit. Kyle in the house, what is up? Mark says the IRS is patiently waiting. John says the movie industry is dead. Everything gambling is 21 plus in Iowa, including lottery. Really? I did not realize that. You can turn in lottery tickets at 18, but to buy them, you have to be 21. Illinois, Wisconsin is 18. But casinos are 21 in Illinois and Wisconsin. James says there's Superfractors, but not Superfractor autos in retail. Oh, interesting. I did not realize that. Zach says yes, but not because of ratings and creating different content for kids. Mark says my LCS had 1986 to 90 wax boxes for 18 to 20 bucks. When my son got nothing from his birthday money for Madden Online, I stopped letting him buy them. Tiger727, I keep just about every Brian Taylor when I find them. Brian Taylor sells well on eBay. If you were a kid turning 18, would you rather chase the over-under on Browns, Jags, or hope Druw Jones card pans out? Chances are they'll migrate to legal gambling. I don't know. I'm not in that mindset. It's hard to say. I don't have kids. And I'm not familiar with the mindset of a teenager. So I have the only mindset I can relate to is what I, at my age as a teenager, when I turned 18, I could give a shit about baseball cards. I just wanted to go buy lottery tickets and buy chewing tobacco, which I didn't do, but I could do it legally now. And so it was a cool thing to do until I put it in my mouth and, oh my God, this is disgusting. But at my age, at 18, cards were not cool. That's why I totally understood and related to what's his name from Fanatics. I can't even remember his name. That's how far he's fallen from his job title at Fanatics. Josh Luber, was it Luber? But people took offense to cards are cool again. Well, they've always been cool to me. They've always been cool to me. But there was a time when they weren't, at least for me. When I was of that age, of that 18, 20, 21. I mean, hell, I probably was 30 by the time I felt comfortable telling people I collected baseball cards. And now it's like, that's the cool thing. Like, collecting cards and buying cards is the cool thing. Shane says, I totally agree. 70s show. Kyle says, maybe I'm dumb, but I thought kids and adults collected baseball cards because they liked baseball, or NASCAR because they liked the races. No, most of them like the money. Baseball's my favorite sport, and I collect baseball, collect Cubs, obviously. I watch football, and maybe there's some, now that I think of it, maybe there is a correlation, at least for me personally, because I love baseball and I love baseball cards. I watch football and I'm like, yeah, I'm so on football cards. Like, I don't collect them, but I enjoy looking at them and selling them. Basketball card, I don't follow the NBA whatsoever, and I don't even give a damn about basketball cards. So there is a correlation, I think. Angel Baby cards in the house. What's happening? Let's see. Zach says that 1992 Topps is a beauty. Andy Mac says, when I was 9, I was trading all of my friends for their Dale Murphy cards. They usually got the better end of those deals. Let's see. In 1990, was collecting Cubs cards. Surprise. I traded a Kevin Moss rookie because there were 2 players on the card. 1990 Fleer, Kevin Moss rookie with some other guy, Dan Howitt. I can't remember who else was on the card. Kevin Moss. I'm like, I've never even heard of this guy. And I traded it for Sean Dunston because Sean Dunston was an established star for the Cubs. Shortstop, the Sean-o-meter. But guess what? At the time, I thought I was getting a great deal because I was getting Sean Dunston, a Cubs card for my collection. Until I found out in the Beckett magazine that Sean Dunston was only worth 8 cents, but that Kevin Moss card booked for $4. And I'm like, shit. It's all money for me now. Kyle, there are different segments of folks in the hobby. Those people will always be a collector and probably aren't the segment being talked about here. Yeah, there's so many segments of collectors. And we can use the word collector sparingly, or sparingly. Mark says, when I was a kid, I was more happy getting a Met than a star player. The goal was completing a set. Stopped putting together sets in 91 when Topps stopped putting gum in packs. Guaranteed low prices, IGA. I was touring with the Miami Sound Machine in 1988. I'm glad it's not 1988 anymore. Let's see. It sure is a great looking card. Bought my 92 Topps gold set about 10 years ago, and his auto was included. Cherish that set. And that's a bit, people are surprised, but that Brian Taylor autograph sells for like $40, I think. Angel Baby card says, my computer takes 25 minutes just to get on YouTube. And because I'm here in California, I don't want to miss the live chat. That's kind of like my computer takes a long time to boot up. Angel Baby typically collects only Hall of Famers. The rest, I honestly could not care, not one bit. Michael Renicky, what's up? Good morning. Dan says, love the discussion here. As a follow-up, I think the idea of age levels is an interesting idea. I definitely want kids to have access to some forms of affordable, fun products. Paul Heath in the house, what's up? John says, while I'm triggered, can we please talk about pineapple on pizza? Love it. There's not a bad pizza. Maybe if you burn it, that's a bad pizza. Pineapple, I'll eat it. Anchovies, I'll eat it. Chicken, I'll eat it. Hamburger, I'll eat it. Pizza, I love it. Love pizza. Luber, thank you. Let's see. I only card about lottery scratch-offs back when I was my late teens forward. Let's see. John says, Bo just did a Wayne's World swing. My collecting went undercover from 19 to 30. Same, yeah. I really, not that I wasn't collecting, because I took in high school when I got my driver's license. That's kind of around the time, 1998. But what brought me back into cards was the actual game of baseball. The Cubs were good. Kerry Wood struck out 20 in a game. And then all of a sudden, Sammy Sosa starts hitting all these home runs. So the summer of 1998 was magical. I turned 16, got my driver's license. The Cubs were fun. Baseball was great. And I got back into cards. Every Sunday, I'd go down to the Kelowna, Illinois, just outside the Quad Cities. I'd go to the card shop. I'd buy 25-cent Mickey Morandini cards. But that lasted maybe a year, and then I became once I got to like my senior year of high school, you're doing all these activities and getting ready for college. I'm off to college, and baseball cards are the last thing on my mind. And then when I got my first job in radio, or my second job in radio, when I moved to Macomb, kind of dabbled because I was in a new town, didn't know too many people, kind of got back into cards. But when I started dating a girl, those cards were hidden. I didn't want a college girl thinking I was a nerd. That would come out later. So yeah, I took, most of my 20s. I was still collecting, but it was like kind of a secret. It's a shame LRS isn't here. My favorite sports to watch are football and football. Don't collect those sports, however. John, is packaging an item in tape a gamble? It will arrive safely. Yes, you're gambling with your life if you ever send me that much tape again. Where are we at? Harlan says, come on, John, you don't want to do that conga anymore. I typically don't build sets, so sorry. In my experience, most people just want the top players. Mark met his ex in 1988. I'm also glad it's not 1988 anymore. 88 was a shitty year, wasn't it? 1988 was peak Gloria Estefan leather pants era. Bo is also wrong about pizza. Bo sounds like my dog when it comes to food. Max says, agree, John, 100% agree. Let's see. Zach says, tough talk, that 70s sound machine. I was touring with Annie DeFranco in 1998. I'm glad it's not 1988. 98 was a fun year. I liked 98. 88 kind of sucked. But I was 6. You don't really know shit at age 6. Again, in my experience, there's typically a trinity in each sport, e.g. Jordan, Iverson, Allen, Kobe, Penny, Robinson. Shane says, for eBay PWE, if someone asks for a refund without opening a case with eBay for not receiving the card, then can I still wait the 30 days and get it refunded by eBay? Or do they need to open a case first? I'm pretty sure they need to open a case. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's actually on the terms of the insurance form. Let me see. Let's see. Maybe not, because you need to the two screenshots you need to show are the eBay order details for the sale. So just showing you sold the item to the buyer that claimed they did not receive it, and then a message from the buyer about the lost or damaged package. This should come from eBay Messenger. So, but I mean, you're going to want to refund the buyer. So, let's see. Annie DeFranco, no hands or tape. Yes, when I started, mostly began to focus on Brady, Peyton, Montana. Joe Webster in the house. They 100% need to open a case themselves. PIP claim is only a 15-day. It is? That's pretty cool. I've got a whole bunch that, and no later than 90 days. I've got to go back and I've got to do some, I'm going to have to do some filing today because I've got my spreadsheet starting to fill up. Bargain Boxer. I got back into cards when David Robinson was a rookie and stopped when my next door neighbor stole all my cards. That sucks. That is not cool. So that's what I had for today. Thanks, Dan, for the inspiration on today's topic. It was good discussion. We've had great discussion this week. Andy says they don't need to file a claim, but I still tell them they need to. It discourages scammers. I do the same. I always have them open a claim just to make sure. So I don't know if it has to be done or not, but I always, that's, they send the message and I'm like, open a claim. I refund the money and then file the claim eventually, which I need to go and do. Let's see. John says 15 days for real. I always make buyers open a case for this reason. 15-day change is recent. Very, very nice. Thanks for the advice. I will have them open a claim. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. eBay store is in the link. I added some more football yesterday. What else did I add? I think I'm adding Bowman singles, first Bowman singles, $150 first Bowman's 2023. If you want volume, send me an offer and I'll take some volume offers. So that's what's going on in my eBay store. Link in the description. Flawed Thinker says, had an honest buyer send me money after I had refunded for a card that showed up way too late. Honesty still lives. Yes, every once in a while, I have that happen to me. Had that happen just a couple weeks ago. Love it. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great, where we at? It's Trash Day Wednesday. Let's see. Rest of the week, obviously, Thursday, Friday will be live. No show on Saturday morning for Hobby Evolution. But do come out to the Madison Card Show at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. And after the show, go across the street, just walk across John Nolan Drive and hit up Bratfest. And you can see Slaughter on Saturday night at Bratfest. If you come early on Friday night, you can check out Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses. So that's this Saturday, Madison Card Show. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, sold out show, 125 tables. We'll do a show review on Sunday morning. So I will be set up. This Saturday. I'll have my bargain boxes. So come out, see me with my quarter boxes. I'll have 2023 Bowman. I'll have a bunch of 2022 Bowman draft. I'll have a bunch of 80s and 90s stuff. I'll have all kinds of good stuff in the quarter boxes. So come see me. Saturday, Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive. Show hours 9 to 3, and it's free admission. So with that, I'm out. Like, subscribe. Have a great day. We'll talk tomorrow.